Glad to have you back. It's the Business Daily right here on Trust Television. From that very important topic to another a more important topic as well, talking about transportation in Nigeria. Of course, in 2025, it is more like characterized by important growth, talking about driven by road logistics due to expensive air travel. Of course, Nigerians are actually going through that now. If you look at what is happening on Lokoja, Abuja Road, you understand that the cost of air travels has pushed a lot of Nigerians on the highway, of course, along major pushes for modernization through rail rehabilitation, and quite a whole lot that need to be done to get all of this road fixed for Nigeria. And of course, a lot of investment that is required in this sector. So we'll look at some of these, the key developments and of course, and trends that we have witnessed in the Nigerian transportation sector in 2025. I'm being joined in the studio by someone who is an expert in the industry, Kingsley Eze. Kingsley Eze is the city transport expert and of course, founder of Nairazi. He joins me right here in the studio. Good morning, Mr. Kingsley.
Thank you for having me again.
Glad to have you. Compliment of the season.
Same to you and your beautiful organization.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's look at your assessment of Nigerian transport industry in 2025. What are some of the changes that you have seen that that is more like positive? I mean, taking us to the next level.
Okay. For 2025, I think the key policy that has shaped road transportation is adoption of CNG or policy of trying to work with alternative source of energy for road mobility. So you see a lot of state governments, they procured CNG buses. The government, through the presidential CNG initiative, they also went ahead to find a way to convert private-owned vehicles and vehicles owned by the Transport Association. So that's key for the year. Also, we're seeing progress in the rail connectivity. At least some new tracks are being laid as we speak. The one that will connect Kaduna and Kano, and we hope that it also connects the current track that is connecting Kaduna and Abuja. And we hope to see that extend to other parts of the country. Down south, you see Lagos with their blue line that is already active, and the purple line and the green line that will also
if you go to the east as well, Enugu State is doing quite a whole lot in that regard.
Yeah, Enugu State, my governor, he procured a few CNG buses, and they've been using that, and it's been, touching lives. But we also hope that we shouldn't rely so much on road transport infrastructure. We should try to optimize, the rail system, because seasons like this, like Christmas, that is when the road system breaks because of the pressure on the road. So rail is something that can move like 20,000 passengers all on a single track, and that is what we need for festive seasons like this. So that connectivity is what I hope the government should look towards going forward.
And talking about rail system, the government of late President Muhammadu Buhari paid so much attention to that. But it does seem that a few years down the line, we seem to have neglected that sector. The Abuja-Kaduna rail system that was working is more like, collapsing gradually now. This year, nothing has really happened in that space. Do you think we're actually maximizing the opportunity in that sector?
Starting is a step in the right direction.
Are we intentional about?
Yeah, but I think the only thing the government should improve on is trying to match development with demand curve, because that's what they are not doing right now. So, for example, the Abuja light rail, I think, is between the airport and
I think Kudu is
Kudu, yes. And there's no much.
How much can that achieve?
Yeah. So, but critics will tell you, imagine if you had the same rail line between, let's say, Maraba, Kurudu axis to city center. Massive. And one of the things that slows these kinds of development is you try to talk to investors and they want to see the numbers. How can we invest $400 million for a track that will just make 20 million in next 10 years? It does not make sense. So government should find a way to match development with demand curve. So demand curve is, okay, that Easterners always shuttle between Lagos and probably, let's say, Onitsha, traders to move their goods, and you have lots of demand around that axis. Even though you want to start from, let's just say, from north to north central, if the demand curve does not match the revenue expectation of the investors you hope to attract, there's no point going ahead with that line. So you can start with the more profitable line, use that as a proof of concept. When investors are making more money, they can now branch out to other lines that might not have that volume of traffic. So if you notice, Kogi connects Eastern Nigeria. And also culturally, you know that Easterners have this, I'll use the word, they are much, they go outwards. In terms of trading, in terms of trying to go to other places, you know. So that also gives you is an indicative intention of demand. So you must have to follow that in planning your rail system. So I believe the reason why you're seeing a slowdown in, you know, rail actualization in terms of development is because even the ones that are already active, the investors are not seeing positive return on investment, and you won't blame them, and they have to backtrack, and government cannot shoulder because it's a huge it's a huge project that costs, you know, millions of dollars. You need the trains, you need the expertise, and most things are always imported into the country. So in a nutshell, try to match your development with demand curve. That's what investors see, and they can come in to expand.
Do you think there's even an enabling environment? We're talking about insecurity here. We saw what happened with the Kaduna rail transport some few, I think about 2 years ago when the rail was attacked as well. Do you think government is doing enough to provide that enabling environment that we want to attract investors to come in?
The issue of insecurity is multi-pronged, you know, but you must have to start somewhere. That's the thing. So enabling environment first is for investors. They can invest in the desert if they are making money. Yes, so that demand curve is the first thing they should tackle to make sure that even the ones that are active are well maintained and the numbers speak for itself. I bought, you know, you built this track with $400 million. I'm making $40 million. Oh, in 10 years I'll break even, and from, you know, year 11, it becomes profitable. That's what they want to see, not a track that will not be profitable for the next 100 years. So it means that the government will now have to finance that out of pocket. And once they take money from there, other critical sector of the economy, of, you know, nation building, lags behind. So you want to build a government that is private sector led. You come in with like 20% counterpart funding and investors match 80%. Why would they do that? Because it's profitable for their bottom line. Yes.
Indeed, but there's another area that we're not even tapping from at all. The maritime is also a very strong side as well.
Yes.
So why do you think that part is neglected? We have the large water bodies, especially if you go to the south. I've taken train from some, boats from places like Akwa Ibom to Cross River on many occasions. But why do you think we're not investing in this area, which I think is even make things more easy?
I think it's culturally, and the issue of safety comes in play, because most of those water bodies are not well dredged. You know, the waterway needs a lot of work to make sure it's navigable. You know, so when you have the water bodies that, you know, for example, between, let's say you want to take you said Akwa Ibom to
from Oron down to Calabar and all those areas.
So you just need to make sure that
around border with Cameroon.
Yes, it is safe, because you see a lot of boats, you know, the kind of boats that they use, capsizing and the rest of it. But if it is, you know, you can assure commuters or, you know, people that will take ferries that it is safe, and you also, as a state government, want to explore that particular sector or segment of transportation, is just to import the ferries, just the way Lagos state government is you know, trying to have it come on board. Get the ferries first, and, you know, educate the commuters that this is actually safe for them, because that's the first thing. Adhere life jackets in case there's any issue. So it's safety concern, and culturally people just prefer to move on land. But by the time they know that it is safe for them to use it, and the the ferries are comfortable and is also affordable. I feel that is the cheapest, form of transportation, waterways. In America, it moves more goods and services through their waterway system than even on the road.
On the road, indeed. Well, let's come down to the issue of a CNG. Now, you did mention it earlier. The adoption is still slow. There's concern about safety and, of course, efficiency as well. What do you think? You are in the sector. I'm sure some of your members actually embrace that. How efficient is it for them?
CNG is just that cost of initial cost of the kit, which the government have tried to subsidize, but you can't subsidize for every car in Nigeria. It's not possible. I don't even expect the government to do that. They will just try, subsidize for a segment of it. People see the savings and they will want to make that investment on their own. So I feel like the first thing that slows down adoption is that initial cost of the kit itself. Next thing that slows the adoption down is unavailability of the fueling station. That's the CNG fueling station, which I feel a lot of other stations are coming on stream. Then the final thing is just culturally, people, innovation is, people have that cold feet adopting a new system. They was like, what if the cylinder explodes? That kind of cultural superstition that Nigerians have. So I feel like if you can tackle these three things, cost of the kits, fueling station, and address that safety concerns, and finally, I feel like also the gap between PMS and CNG is closing.
It's closing gradually, exactly.
Currently 700, and I don't know, Dangote, the recent reductions, let's just say 790 or thereabout, versus around 450 or 500 in some places. So it's closing. So people now see that disparity, is it really worth it for me to convert, So I feel that gap is also going to be like a factor that closes that slows the adoption down way more. Yes.
Do you think government is not doing this initiative good by allowing that gap to be closing? Because I reason with you. We've spoken to some drivers, and they did say that sometimes to even get the CNG is a problem. And now they are seeing that there is not much difference between the CNG and the PMS, which they can drive into any filling station and buy at ease. Sure. So what do you think government need to do at this point? Do you think they should subsidize this sector? Talking about the CNG now.
Subsidy replacing subsidy is not a good thing. All right? Free market economy is what drives growth, because you feel like...
But don't you think it should be controlled? There should be some measure of control from the
price
government? Control.
If you do that for gas, people want it for food, and you are tilting towards communism, and you know how that ends. So I feel like it should be free, but also there should be other incentive that drives the cost down. For example, the kit, you can encourage local fabrication, manufacturing of the kits, and also reduce the import tariff. I hear there is a zero import tariff on the kit right now. Do we have it well implemented by the customs? Because I might want to import the kit and I'll have to pay for that. Is it express that so far is a CNG kit? This should be a zero tariff policy, and it's spelled out and is well implemented, so that private people can ship in containers of kits and find a way to drive the cost down. Also, when it lands in Nigeria, clearing process, is it, do you give priority if this is kits for CNG, because we want people to adopt the policy? There's an express policy for these things to be cleared. All these two examples will not cost the government. It's just policy and making sure, but it also has a lot of role to play in terms of the final cost of the kit. Yes.
Yeah, but do you think the time frame is too short for us to assess the government? 2 years is a long time, but if you look at how bogus the program is, maybe 2 years is not enough for us to assess the government.
I feel like 2 years is enough, because you need, at the start of a thing gives you a preview to the ending. Next year is almost like an election year. Very soon they'll start campaigning. So what are you campaigning on? people still struggle to get access to affordable mobility from point A to point B. So if you've not tackled that milestone, I feel like you failed in that particular promise, because you reduce subsidy for PMS. What a government should do is to make sure there's something you can fall back on.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what, in terms of subsidy, you can subsidize demand for the product. So I would not say subsidize the price of the gas, but you can subsidize operators, which happens everywhere. Even the current mayor of New York, that was his thing. I want buses to be affordable, and something small matters. So if I keep saying it in the program, if the real cost that will make going from Wuse 2 to Maraba is 500, if the government steps in and say, oh, operator B or operator A, I need you to deliver that same service at 450, that's a 50 naira subsidy. All right? And you find a way to track it and make sure it's across board. Oh, I'm paying 450 for something that would have been 500. 500, exactly. 50 times 20 times in a month, that's already like 1,000 naira given to you by the government. But what does that do? It incentivizes operators to keep up, the service. It incentivizes them to buy newer buses, even higher capacity buses, which are the things that government normally spends the money on. Because the government might want, like, let's say 5 billion to spend on transportation, and one of the buses is already 200 million naira. So you know that I buying that bus, I will not have enough money to meet up with even if you buy 1,000 buses in Abuja right now, it's not enough.
It's not enough, absolutely.
So you want a situation where the private capital becomes where you raise the funds that you need. Okay, if you buy a bus here and this is the amount you make in a month, and you have incentive to guarantee investors that there will be demand for the buses, then they get access to the buses.
What option do we have? I mean, let's look at the private transportation options. How readily available are they?
For private transportation, which is also a space we play in, people compare what they see. There's no bus. The next thing is Uber and Bolt. A step further is maybe a chauffeur service, black service. So these are the three categories. If you can't have access to buses, you do your boat. If you don't do your boat, I think there is, town service, the one we call along. So if you can't do that, you want something luxurious, then you do like private car hire and all that. So these are like the segments, and I feel like they are doing well because consumers are getting.
And there's more regulation.
Yeah, they are getting what they want. If you want to go to the taxi bay, there are taxis there. It might be more expensive than the buses, but at least
the comfort, you get value for your money.
You get value for it, yes.
But do you think we should adopt what some people call multimodal transport system?
Of course, in the ideal world, you need to do that. There should be rail, there should be waterways, like you mentioned, there should be the road, all complementing each other. Because this pushes us into the 21st century. We're entering into the AI revolution, and we're still battling with the basics, which is moving people, moving goods, moving services from point A to B affordably, and making sure it's there for everyone. Yes.
As we wrap up now, what do you have to tell government with regards to what is happening on Lokoja Abuja Highway? There are people who are trapped there for the past 3 days. Our reporters went there yesterday and he spoke to some commuters. It's not really a very good experience. What do you have to tell government? There's so much pressure on the road because other arms of transportations are not be opening up. What do you have to tell government to avert that kind of incidents in subsequent years?
What I would say is that if that's a pitch, if I'm in the shoes of the government or Ministry of Transport, I'll go take pictures, have videos of commuters and their experience, their frustration, probably drone shot of the amount of traffic on that line. Then that's the pitch to investors to launch a line between Abuja and Kogi for a start. So
Well, we hope that government will do as you said, because what we were told a few days after them, before our reporters when there was that the road is free now. The road has been cleared, that there was free traffic now. But when our reporter went there yesterday, he saw something opposite. Thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley Eze, city transport expert, founder of Nairazi. We appreciate your time on the program. And compliment of the season.
Thank you.
All right. With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back here again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akogu.